All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're unpacking a really powerful story about resilience. We're going to use the incredible journey of footballer Harry Maguire to basically decode what emotional intelligence is all about. And listen, this isn't just a sports story, it's really a blueprint for how any of us can turn a huge setback into an amazing comeback. This quote just perfectly sets the stage. It gets right to the heart of what we're talking about, which is transformation. The idea that our lowest points, our toughest moments, they aren't the end of the road. No way. They're actually the starting line for our own evolution. I mean, think about it for a second. Have you ever been there in your own personal quagmire? That feeling of just being stuck, maybe misunderstood, where the pressure just feels like it's crushing you. We've all had those seasons, and that's exactly what makes this story so relatable for every single one of us. So to really get the comeback story, you first have to understand the climb to the top. We're going to start with Harry Maguire's pretty meteoric rise and the huge shadow of pressure that was quietly growing right behind him. Harry Maguire's story really starts on these muddy fields in Sheffield. He wasn't the quickest kid out there, but man, he had a presence. And he learned something really important early on, that humility isn't weakness. It's the ground where real greatness can grow. That foundation took him all the way from his debut right to the top at Manchester United. And this number is everything. 80 million pounds. That fee made him the world's most expensive defender. But you have to imagine, that number probably felt less like an award and more like a heavy verdict just waiting to be delivered. It's a massive crown for sure, but it comes with a truly massive weight. And if that wasn't enough, on top of that massive price tag, they handed him the captain's armband. I mean, what a vote of confidence. But he found out fast that leadership isn't all about lifting trophies. It's a grind. Suddenly, he wasn't just responsible for his own game, but for the entire team's morale, all while living under this incredibly intense public microscope. Okay, and this is where the whole story takes a turn. Because, the highest summit always casts the longest shadow. We're now heading into that really difficult period where all the noise from the outside, the critics, social media, it all started to brew this powerful storm on the inside. So what do we even mean by the quagmire? Well, it's not just having a bad run of form, it's this specific state of emotional fatigue. It's that really dangerous place where all the external pressure starts to twist and turn into internal self-doubt, and it just completely drains you of everything. And that external noise, it was just relentless. You had pundits picking apart his every move. Social media was absolutely brutal. Every single slip-up got magnified, it became a meme, and under that constant 24/7 barrage of negativity, his confidence just started to crumble. And here's the most important part, this internal shift. This is when the quagmire really grabs hold of you. The joy of the game gets replaced by the fear of making a mistake. He wasn't out there playing with freedom anymore. He was playing just to avoid the next wave of criticism. And that is an absolutely suffocating way to live, let alone perform. But right there, in the middle of all that struggle, there was this moment of absolute defiance. He actually wrote this down in his journal. It's just this incredibly powerful declaration, right? It's him deciding to take back his own story. And really, this marks the beginning of his climb back out. So this brings us to the turning point. This whole section is about the conscious, deliberate work he put in to rebuild himself, not from the outside, but from the inside out. This part of the story isn't about luck. It's all about the grind. The breakthrough came from a phone call with his old youth coach, and the advice was so simple but so profound. Stop trying to prove everyone wrong. Just start playing again. And in that moment, he realized he'd been performing for peace, trying to earn it from other people instead of performing from a place of inner peace. What a massive shift. So what did he actually do? He basically started his own secret training regimen, an inner game. First, he just cut out all the noise, muted social media, stopped reading the news. Then he started meditating to build that inner calm. He worked with a sports psychologist to learn how to reframe all those negative thoughts. And maybe most importantly, he found a way to reconnect with that kid who just loved playing the game. And this, right here, is such a key principle of emotional intelligence. It's called reframing. He learned how to take his emotions and turn them into fuel for his evolution. So instead of thinking, I'm under so much pressure, He'd reframed it as, I'm being prepared for something great. He wasn't ignoring the pain, he was giving it a brand new purpose. All right, now we get to the really good stuff. We're going to take all these lessons from his incredible journey and distill them down into a framework that, honestly, any of us can use in our own lives. This is what we're calling the Maguire Code. So what this all reveals are two totally opposite mindsets. You've got the quagmire mindset, which traps you in doubt, drains your energy, and just leaves you exhausted because you're totally focused on all that external noise. But then you have the Maguire mindset, and that transforms you, it sharpens your focus, and it leads to this real sense of clarity because it relies on your own internal compass. So how do you actually make that shift? Well, think of it like building a ladder to climb out of your own quagmire. It's a 5-rung framework based on emotional intelligence. It all starts with rung 1, self-awareness, just learning to pause before you panic. And it builds all the way up to rung 5, social intelligence, learning how to truly connect with people around you. And here are just a few of the core truths from the Maguire Code. I absolutely love these. Pain is a teacher, not an enemy. So true. And how about this one? Persistence outlasts perception. That's so powerful. These aren't just feel-good quotes, they're genuine principles for building tough, lasting resilience. And this really brings it all home. The ultimate lesson of his journey. The real win wasn't just about surviving the tough times. It was about taking those lessons of resilience and embedding them so deep inside that he actually became a walking, talking example of strength. He didn't just get through the quagmire, he became the quagmire. So I'm just going to leave you with this one question to chew on. What if your true success isn't about the trophies or the promotions or what other people think of you? What if the real prize is the person you forge in the fire of your own challenges? What if your greatest achievement is simply who you become?